From now on, we will study about the pronoun what and the other pronoun who, whose, or which that is applied as an interrogative pronoun or subordinating pronoun. The difference between the pronoun what and the other pronoun who, whose, or which is this. The pronoun what is only applied in a subordinate clause that has the trait as a pronoun. The subordinate clause linked by the pronoun what indicates a described subject or object applied in the main clause. The description in the subordinate clause about the subject or object indicated by the pronoun what is considered the way to set the range of the indication. The speaker selects the pronoun what to indicate a subject or object with the description in the subordinate clause. The speaker does not indicate the subject or object in the main clause that is the same subject or object indicated by the pronoun what. The subject or object that indicates the same subject or object, the pronoun is the precedent. The precedent in the main clause is the subordinate clause. The subordinate clause and the precedent are arranged in a sequence because the subordinate clause describes the experience, condition, or action about the precedent. Then we can understand that the subordinate clause has the trait as a description. The pronoun who, whose, or which is applied as a subordinating conjunction to link the subordinate clause as an indication or a description. The subordinate clause linked by the pronoun what is only applied as an indication, but the subordinate clause linked by the pronoun who, whose, or which is applied either way as an indication or a description. Because the pronoun who, whose, or which indicates relatively small range of a subject or object. So the speaker chooses to mention the precedent in the main clause first, and the speaker indicates the same subject or object with the pronoun who, whose, or which in the subordinate clause, and the speaker describes the subordinate has the form to describe the pronoun who, whose, or which indicates the same subject or object with the precedent in the main clause. The entire subordinate clause has the trait as a description for the precedent. The pronoun indicates a small range of the subject or object. The compatibility of a subordinate clause as an indication or a description linked by a pronoun who, whose, and which as a subordinating conjunction. The phrase of noun, the compatibility means that the subordinate clause linked by the pronoun who, whose, or which has the trait either as an indication or a description. The pronoun who replaces a part of the general nouns and proper nouns to indicate a person. The proper noun defines a subject. The entire definition for a subject indicated by the proper noun tangible or unintangible concept. What of the tangible concept to define the can be a person. For example, a proper noun to reveal the nationality of a person can be considered to the proper noun can be applied to indicate the entire identity or indicate a part of the definitions. A person can be a part of the definitions as the countable. After the speaker states the noun to indicate a person as a precedent to practice the role as a subject or an object in the main clause, the speaker can apply the pronoun who as a subordinating conjunction to indicate the same subject or object as the precedent. With the precedent in the main clause, the listeners can understand the purpose of the subordinate clause. The purpose of the subordinate clause is clarified with the revelation of the precedent. Because the number of the nouns to indicate a person is relatively less than the number of nouns to indicate an object except a person. The speaker states the precedent to clarify the subject or object ahead of the pronoun who. We can consider the entire range of the noun like this, and the noun to indicate a person is a part of the general noun and a part of the proper noun. So we can accept that the range of the noun to indicate a person is small. the speaker can apply the pronoun who as a subordinating conjunction to start a subordinate clause that has the trait as an adjective to specify the subject or object that the pronoun who indicates with the description in the subordinate clause. The subordinate clause linked by the pronoun who can be applied as an indication about a person. The described person in the subordinate clause can be applied as a subject or an object. The subordinate clause linked by the pronoun who can have the trait as a description for the person indicated by the pronoun who and the precedent in the main clause.